Won't it be Ryan the Great? And today we are previewing the Philadelphia Eagles, or the Dallas Cowboys. Gotta go first because they're away. Dallas Cowboys versus Philadelphia Eagles. Sunday night football matchup, baby. You already know. We're prime time. One of the biggest rivalries in football history. The Cowboys, the Eagles. It's going down on Sunday night football. I'm going to be previewing the game. Who I think is going to win. What I think the Eagles should do. What I think the Cowboys should do to separately get the W. But before we get into it, I'm going to tell you guys to subscribe, post notifications on. Go subscribe to my brother Ryan the Great vlogs. Also, make sure you follow me on Twitch at Ryan the Great Podcast. Without further ado, let's get right into it. Also, before we start, everybody like the new Devontae Smith jersey? You already know. Hey, we got love Smitty, but hey, tell me what you guys think of the jersey in the comments. I've seen a lot of more Devontae Smith jerseys throughout the recent weeks because I think he's gotten a lot more popular. And I think he's really one of the best. He could be one of the best receivers in the NFL in a few years. But anyway, we're going to get right into it. So, obviously first we're going to talk about the Eagles. So, what I think the Eagles should do, play the short game. You got to get the ball off 2 to 3 seconds. You have to avoid Micah Parsons, who I think is the best defensive player in the NFL right now. And he is going to line up on Mailata's side, who has been injured. At least I believe that. I think he'll line up on he'll line up on Hurts' left side where he is not going to be looking because, when Hurts sees something, he's able to escape the pocket really well. And we all know that, we all know what Hurts can do with his legs. Hurts, he just has to be what he's been doing, efficient. He's got to be dominant. He's got to throw the ball well. He can run the ball, but I don't want him running the ball 15 times. As I've been saying, he's eventually going to get hurt, and you're facing the Cowboys, so they're going to be a little more aggressive, so let's not run the ball 15 times. Let's run the ball through. If we're going to do this run game, which I hope is going to be very effective, let's run the ball through the middle to avoid Micah Parsons and for Kelsey to take out the Dallas weak interior line. The Dallas Cowboys are giving up some of the most rushing yards in the NFL. They've only given up 1 rushing touchdown, which is where the Eagles thrive in getting touchdowns. But Miles Sanders is averaging 5 yards a carry. I think he'll get a few. I think if we can run the ball well, then I think we're going to be able to pass the ball well. Make sure you get Goddard involved as much as possible because Dallas's linebackers, they're more pass rushers than they are zone and coverage. So maybe run screen passes to Goddard. Once again, stay away from Micah Parsons as much as possible. To take on this secondary, the Eagles are going to have to get Smith and Brown at the same time. I would suggest lining both guys up in the X on opposite sides of the field, just so there's some space and separation between Trayvon Diggs and the other receiver that he's not covering. So I think if we do that, we can confuse Dallas and eventually, not confuse them, but we're gonna put a flaw in their game plan and who Trayvon Diggs should be covering because, as you guys know, without Trayvon Diggs, the secondary would be really bad. So if we can, keep switching Trayvon Diggs between receivers, then I think that both receivers can thrive really well. And also probably have Brown move in motion to try and get Trayvon Diggs off of him and make him cover somebody else like Quez Watkins. I think that would be a good idea as well. And the offensive line, if they can block for just around 2 to 3 seconds of play, then they've done their job right. And also if Kelsey can, be the leader of the offense that he has been, we all know that if Kelsey was not in that offense, the Eagles' offense would be really bad. I mean, you saw the drive when they didn't have him against Arizona. I mean, they looked like a bunch of lost puppies. Moving on, we're going to move on to the defense. Defense, send the pass rush. This Dallas offensive line, not as good as it used to be in a few years. Also, we have Jason Peters hurt. He's questionable to play, but I think he is playing. He's a game-time decision. And people do forget that Hassan Reddick is tied for the most sacks in the NFL with Micah Parsons. I would line him up with Jason Peters, one, because he talked trash about us. He said that we were crazy. Though we are crazy. Make sure you keep your mouth shut, Mr. Peters. And also that he's beat up and injured. I think that Reddick is a lot faster. Peters has lost some not energy, but he's lost some speed in the past few years as a tackle. So I feel like we'll be able to get around him a little easier than normal. Jordan Davis and the interior line, they have to be a game changer because, as I've been pointing out, the Eagles do struggle against a dual threat rushing attack and elusive backs like Tony Pollard. And I say Jordan Davis because I think this can be the game that he can thrive. Because as we all know, Dallas, Elliott, he likes to run the ball more up the middle. While he's not that running back that takes over games, he's still effective. And yes, I think if Davis can prove me wrong today in saying that he's not I'm not really saying that Davis is not what we drafted him for, which is to be Fletcher Cox's replacement and be that Pro Bowler. I'm not saying he's a bust yet, because we can't really tell. It is his rookie season, but I would like him to have a bigger impact. I think this is the game that he shows that he can be the replacement for Fletcher Cox. The linebackers, I'm not sure they're going to be doing much. As we all know, Schultz did have that injury, but I think he's cleared to play. I'm not entirely sure. But I'm more likely than sure that he is going to be playing. The secondary shut down Dallas's receivers early. As we all know, CeeDee Lamb does have that hip injury, so I'm not sure if you want to put Slay or Bradbury on him. I would still put Slay on him. We all know CeeDee Lamb is one of the top pass catchers in the NFL. While he does drop a lot of passes, he still can be really effective. I think he's averaging around 75 yards a game. I'm not entirely sure. I might be actually. No. That's Brown. That's Brown averaging around 75 yards a game. My bad. I know CeeDee Lamb. He can run any route. He can run a dig. He can run a post. He can just run a go route and beat anybody. So we got to make sure we cover CeeDee Lamb up. I'm not sure what Michael Gallup is going to look like. As we all know, he's coming off the ACL injury and it's not been super effective. But you never know. This could be the game that he comes back and shows that he can be that number one target. It also does help that Avonte Maddox is back to be the nickel. I did like Hosea Scott, though. I thought he was really good in coverage, and he really helped us against guys like Christian Kirk against Arizona. I think against Jacksonville. I think he helped cover Christian Kirk a lot. He didn't really do much in the Arizona game, but I thought in the Jacksonville game he played all right. The bottom line, offense and defense just needed to completely dominate early. Got to keep the crowd going. I mean, I was just in that traffic like 15 minutes ago. That it is freaking rocked over there. I mean, those people are rolling into that stadium really quickly. So let's keep the crowd moving early. And dominate early. The Cowboys, not really sure what he's going to do against the Eagles. It seems like every week he's doing something else. Like 1 week he's handing the ball off. The next week he's throwing the ball a little more. Last week he didn't throw the ball as much. So I don't know what he's going to do. But as long as he does his job right, be efficient, and hand the ball off fine, I think he'll be all right. Both Elliott and Pollard need to be good during this game. One can maybe have 90 to 100 yards rushing, and one have around 40 or 50, and I think that they'll be good. And as I do say, the Eagles, I do think, struggle against a dual-threat rushing attack. I don't know why Jacksonville didn't run both ETN and James Robinson, but hey, I'm not complaining. They won the game. I really do think, though, the only way Dallas wins this game is if the receivers have to be great. Not good, great. The Eagles have the best 1-2 punch at the cornerback position in the NFL. Now, when I say that, people think I'm saying that they're the best two corners in the NFL. That's not what I'm saying. What I'm saying is when they're together on the field, they're the best. I'm not saying they're individually the best corners. I'm saying that when they're on the field together, there's none that are better. Let's see. The defense, actually, no, scratch that. Micah Parsons is a one-man defense. I mean, literally. He needs to get as much rush as possible just to shut down Hurts. But it'll be a problem, though, because if the Eagles keep getting the ball off really quickly, then I don't think they'll be able to do that. And also, one more thing about the Eagles. Try your best to not run the ball. Not run the ball. Try your best not to do as much play action as possible, because it seems like when I watch these Dallas highlights, they get a lot of their sacks off play action passes. I know the Eagles like to run a lot of RPOs. We'll have to see. Bottom line for the Cowboys, defense just needs to shut down the offense and defense needs to shut down the offense, and then the Dallas offense need to. I don't know what the Dallas offense needs to do. I don't think they'll score particularly high, but I don't think they'll score 7 points either. So just the defense needs to shut it down and just try and let the offense do the rest. And kind of what they've been doing the past few weeks. I do have the Eagles coming out on top, though, but it's not by much. I have the Cowboys at 20, the Eagles at 27. I don't think this will be the highest scoring game in NFL history, but I don't think it'll be the lowest either. I think this will be a nice back and forth game, and I think it'll be a good game for prime time. Alright guys, that's going to do it for this video. Make sure you subscribe, post notifications on. Go subscribe to my brother Ryan the Great vlogs. Also make sure you follow me on Twitch at Ryan the Great Podcast. I feel like there's something else I had to say, but I'm not entirely sure. But we'll say it in the reaction coming tomorrow, just to let you go, just to confirm. And as always, Ryan the Great out. Peace.